Invest or pay debt. Invest or pay off debt. People love believing they are smarter than the system, especially when it comes to money they don't even have yet. I've watched this for almost a century. Intelligent, educated, successful people quietly destroying their lives with debt they believed they could control. They call it leverage. I call it legalized self-deception. And if you're sitting there right now debating whether you should invest or pay off your debt, you're already standing on the wrong side of the fence. You allowed debt to become normal. That's how financial disasters begin, one clever justification at a time. People tell themselves stories. My debt is cheap. My returns are higher, so I'm winning. No, you're not winning. You're juggling fire inside a room full of gasoline. I've never met someone who went broke without first owing money to someone else. That's not coincidence. It's almost a law of nature. The smartest investors I know don't sleep better because they own great stocks. They sleep better because no one owns them. Why debt reprograms your mind. You don't build rational wealth while carrying an irrational burden on your back. You can't think long-term when you owe money in the short term, and you can't call yourself free when someone else controls your next payment. Here's what nobody tells you. Debt changes the way you think. It forces short-term decisions. It kills patience, and patience in investing is oxygen. I've seen people brag about beating the market while carrying high-interest loans. That's like swimming faster with your pockets full of stones. Eventually, you sink. When I was young, the Great Depression was still alive in people's memory. Debt was feared like a disease. That fear kept people financially alive. Today, debt is treated like a vitamin. Everyone takes it. Nobody thinks it can kill them. But debt doesn't kill fast. It kills quietly when luck runs out. You want to invest? Fine. But don't call it investing if you're doing it with borrowed money. That's gambling in a suit. The only difference between a gambler and a leveraged investor is that the gambler knows he's gambling. Pause. The brutal math of debt. Leverage has destroyed people 10 times smarter than you. Intelligence does not protect you from compounded stupidity. The math of debt is ruthless. It compounds against you with perfect discipline, day and night, no emotions, no mercy. People ask me, Charlie, what if my debt costs 3% and I can earn 7% investing? Well, genius, what if that 7% disappears? What if your investment drops 40%? What if you lose your job next month? Debt doesn't care about your projections. Debt always gets paid. You don't need a spreadsheet to know what's right. You need common sense. If you owe, pay. If you're free, stay free, because freedom compounds better than any stock I've ever owned. Pause. Debt versus real wealth. Real wealth is not built by pretending risk doesn't exist. It's built by surviving long enough for time to do the heavy lifting. Debt steals that time. People obsess over portfolio allocation while ignoring interest, quietly eating their finances alive. They argue about whether to own 5% more of one stock or 5% less of another, while credit card interest compounds faster than any company ever will. That's not investing. That's intellectual theater. You don't fix a leaking boat by installing a more powerful engine. You fix the leak first. Debt is the leak. Investing before fixing it is just rowing faster toward the iceberg. Yes, markets return around 10% per year over long periods, but debt doesn't wait for long periods. The creditor wants payment next month. Debt compounds like a metronome, steady, indifferent, relentless. The market moves with emotion. Debt does not. When you owe money, you live in a race between compounded wisdom and compounded stupidity. Most people lose because they underestimate how fast stupidity compounds under pressure. Pause. Why debt kills patience. You don't think clearly when the meter is running. Debt taxes your mind before it ever taxes your wallet. You start making urgent decisions instead of intelligent ones. You sell early. You chase late. You start praying for miracles. That's not rational investing. That's survival mode. I've seen more investors ruined by debt than by bad stocks. A bad stock teaches humility. Debt teaches desperation. If you truly understood math, you'd treat high-interest debt like a house on fire. You wouldn't stand there analyzing the architecture, you'd run and put the fire out. Paying off debt is the highest risk-free return you will ever find. It's boring, but solvency is boring too, and boring in finance is severely underrated. Everyone wants excitement until excitement shows up as a margin call. Pause. Leverage is an illusion. People love talking about good debt and bad debt. That's a comforting story. In reality, both are dangerous. One kills slowly, the other kills quickly, but both steal your sleep. Leverage makes you fragile. It turns small setbacks into permanent losses. I've seen brilliant people borrow at 3% to invest at 6%, bragging about the spread. What they never mention is that they're risking 100% for a few points of illusion. When things go well, leverage makes you feel smart. When things go wrong, it makes you helpless. If you don't sleep well at night, you're over-leveraged. If a market dip destroys your plans, you're over-leveraged. If you need good luck to stay solvent, you're not investing, you're hoping. And hope is not a strategy. Freedom is the real goal. People think the goal is getting rich. It isn't. The real goal is independence. You don't want more money to buy more things. You want more money so you can stop doing stupid things. And nothing is more stupid than trading freedom for leverage. Debt whispers promises. You can have it now. You'll figure it out later. But later always arrives with interest. I've seen people chained to jobs they hate because debt demanded obedience. I've seen smart investors make cowardly decisions because loans dictated their behavior. That's not wealth. That's well-dressed servitude. Freedom doesn't come from having more. It comes from owing less. When you owe nothing, you can think clearly. You can wait. You can say no. You can ignore the crowd when panic takes over. That ability is priceless. Pause. The final question. So the real question isn't, should I invest or pay off debt? That's the wrong question. The real question is, who owns your time? Who owns your peace of mind? Who owns the next 10 years of your life? If the answer isn't you, the discussion is already over. The world is full of people who look rich but aren't free. They drive leased cars, live in mortgaged homes, invest borrowed money, beautiful cages, carefully decorated. Complexity doesn't make you smart. Simplicity makes you safe. I never tried to be the smartest investor in the room. I tried to be the one still standing at the end. And that's impossible when debt controls your decisions. If you want to invest, earn the right to do it. Buy back your independence, one payment at a time. Because in the end, freedom compounds better than anything else. Long pause.